Good morning and welcome to the launch of our Weddin Wattles Field Guide and Australia's first self-drive wattle trails. My name is Melanie Cooper and I'm one of the local Landcare coordinators for Weddin Landcare. We have a few formalities up first before we hear more about this project and from our guest speakers. There are a number of distinguished guests here today who I would like to acknowledge, including our Mayor of the Weddin Shire, Paul Best, Deputy Mayor, Colleen Gorman, Councillor Niven, our guest speaker, Dr. Suzette Searle, and members of the Wattle Day Association Committee, representatives from the Biodiversity Conservation Trust, Glenn Harpley and Sharon Cuniel. I would also like to acknowledge the executive members of Weddin Landcare Steering Committee present here today, Philip and Jan Diprose, and offer the apologies of our chairperson Clements Matchett and our vice chairperson James Maslin, who were unable to be here today unfortunately. Other apologies for today's event include Her Excellency, the Honourable Ms Sam Mostyn, AC, as patron of the Wattle Day Association. And we actually contacted Her Excellency and unfortunately she would really have liked to have come. She actually requested us to ask her to come, but unfortunately she had a prior engagement that she had to go to. Also apologies from the Honourable Steph Cook, who would have also loved to be here, Councillor Macon, Councillor Montgomery, Councillor Neal and Councillor Parlett. Dr. Philip Codilla, Rainer Raywinkle, John Schmidt and Wendy Lindbrick also send their apologies. Wattles, or acacias as they are known in the scientific world, evolved with our continent over 20 million years ago. First Nations people were the first Australians to realise the remarkable qualities of wattles and have relied heavily on wattles for food, medicines, shelters, utensils, weapons, musical instruments, firewood, glues, string, soaps and dyes. Today we meet on Wiradjuri country and I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and their deep connection to wattles. I pay respect to the elders past and present who have passed on their knowledge of wattles so that we may all benefit and better understand the role of this ancient, incredible plant on country. Landcare activities in the Weddin district began in the 1990s as part of the National Landcare movement, with numerous groups operating until 2005 when they all amalgamated into Weddin Landcare. Weddin Landcare is a community-driven, not-for-profit organisation run by volunteers and currently supported by 2 part-time local Landcare coordinators. Our focus is on regenerating the landscape to support healthy ecosystems and agricultural production, protecting our local flora and fauna, helping our rural community thrive. We're here today to launch our brand new self-drive Weddin Wattle Trails and the accompanying field guide that we have developed called Weddin Wattles, a local guide, which you should all have a copy of now. Ultimately, the trails and the book are a celebration of our local wattles, which are a prominent part of our landscape and the harbingers of spring, brightening our world with their yellow flowers. Through this project and the resulting products, we also want to raise awareness of the critical roles wattles play in our landscape and the urgent need to conserve the little remaining remnant vegetation that we have left and revitalise our landscape with new plantings. As I've alluded to, wattles are more than just a pretty face. They are heavy lifters in our natural environment. As colonisers, they regenerate quickly after disasters to stabilise the soil and contribute to land rehabilitation, making conditions right for succeeding plants. In their many and varied forms, they play vital roles in ecosystems, providing food, shelter and breeding habitat for a range of wildlife. The flowers attract insects, which in turn attracts insectivorous birds. Wattle seeds are nutritious and favoured by numerous animals, while gum-producing wattles provide winter resources for possums and sugar gliders. Many of our smaller woodland birds rely on dense, sometimes prickly nature of wattles as protection from predators. When planted on farms, wattles also provide excellent shelter for crops, pasture and livestock from harsh winds and sun, and offer browsing options for livestock. Not only are they incredibly well adapted to our boom-bust climate of Australia, wattles have many other special adaptations to make them valuable plants in our agricultural landscape. They are a legume and excel at nitrogen fixation and cycling, which can boost soil health and pasture production. Special adaptations in the stomata of the phyllodes, or the leaves of wattles, make them incredibly efficient at photosynthesis, particularly in drier climates, which enables them to sequester large amounts of carbon. Several years ago, we actually invited Professor Mark Adams from the Swinburne University in Melbourne to speak at one of our Wattle Day events. And following years of extensive research on wattles, he agreed in a radio interview with Robin Williams on The Science Show that wattles could in fact help to save the world by reducing the acceleration of climate change with their carbon sequestering abilities. Wattles have been celebrated in the Weddin Shire through annual Wattle Day events since 2010, when former Senior Threatened Species Officer Raina Raywinkle initiated our inaugural event. Over the years, these events have educated and inspired hundreds of participants. But this year, Weddin Landcare have gone all in with the wattle theme, from an entry full of wattles in this year's Henry Lawson Festival Parade to the wonderful wattles exhibition next door, new wattle trails, a book, a bus tour, it just goes on. We really wanted to draw the community in and share the knowledge on the importance of wattles in our natural environment. The idea of the field guide on local wattles has been on the wish list for members of Weddin Landcare for quite a few years now, particularly one of our dedicated volunteers, Mikla Lewis, who has been the instigator for many of our Wattle Day activities to date. And following the success of the bird trails and the canola trails in the Weddin Shire, it seemed logical that we should also have some wattle trails. In 2023, Weddin Landcare were able to secure a full-time local landcare coordinator through the New South Wales Landcare Enabling Program, which is a collaboration between local land services and Landcare New South Wales, supported by the New South Wales Government. And myself and Claire Diprose, at the back there, now share this role, and with such an effective partnership, we saw the opportunity to pursue the dream. It was Claire and Mikla who took up the challenge over the past year and have poured many hours of work into the development of the field guide and the trails, wattling their way, as we would say, around the Weddin Shire to locate, map and describe the 33 species of wattles that occur locally. That's of about 1,075 that occur nationally, which is pretty amazing. This experience provided them with many wow moments when the beauty of wattles shone through, but there were also moments of sad realisation that in our agricultural landscape, remnants of once widespread woodlands and forests are now mainly consigned to the narrow roadside verges, with very few wattles beyond that. The journey certainly highlighted the need for the project, with many of our plants and vegetation communities under threat. Together, Claire and Mikla compiled the information and the photographs for the book and developed and mapped the trails. Myself and others provided input along the way, and I conducted the final edit. So if you do find any mistakes, you know who to blame. Claire put her talents in design to the book and pulled it all together into what is now a fantastic local resource. Many people have helped support us along the way, so on behalf of Weddin Landcare, I would like to thank some people who have been integral into the development of the wattle trails and the field guide. First and foremost, Claire Diprose and Mikla Lewis. Claire, for the past year I have watched you toil over this book amongst the many other projects and events that we've held in between, and it's been an incredible accomplishment, and you've produced a really high quality product that you should be very proud of. voluntarily given up a lot of her own time, knowledge and photos for this massive project. I think the end result has certainly been worth it, but we thank you and your ongoing commitment to the cause. Thank you also to the support from the Weddin Landcare Steering Committee, the Weddin Community Native Nursery and Central West Region Landcare, who help us in our everyday endeavours with Landcare, including this project. None of this would have been possible without the financial support for our coordinators through the New South Wales Landcare Enabling Program and also the New South Wales Biodiversity Conservation Trust, who have kindly funded the printing costs for the first run of the field guide as well as today's event. A big thanks to Weddinshire Council, who assisted in a few different ways, from some of the base maps to an advice on the trails, and of course the wonderful women here at the Weddin Tourism team, Claire, Ellie and Casey, for their continuous support of our ideas and events. To Suzette and the Wattle Day Association, thank you for your ongoing support and friendly encouragement and for your input and guidance on the trails and book. A couple of people that aren't here that we need to thank, Rainer Raywinkle, and all of our Wattle Day activities started with Rainer, who instigated our first annual Wattle Day event here in the Weddinshire. He's been a big supporter of us ever since, so we thank Rainer. And Dr. Philip Kodler. Philip is the Flora Officer and Executive Editor of the Flora of Australia books at the Australian Biological Resources Study. He specialises in acacias and he generously provided a lot of scientific advice to us in the development of the book. So thank you to Philip. And last but not least, Jen Graham. Jen contributed many of the photos for the book and into the slideshow that you saw behind us this morning, and also helped with the editing, and she's also our official photographer today. So thank you very much, Jen.
Welcome everybody. I'll make this short and sweet. I think Melanie sort of covered everything, and really, but as well I need to acknowledge that we're meeting today on the land of the Wiradjuri people and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Just as the Mayor of the Weddin Shire, I want to welcome everybody here today to our Shire. And anyone that doesn't live here, welcome. Especially, as we said, acknowledging Glenn Hartley from the New South Wales Biodiversity Trust. As we said, as Melanie pointed out, without their funding it wouldn't be possible. Once again, thank you so much for that. I think the community really does appreciate it, and if you can pass that on. I think you have someone here today as well, Susan, is it? Or Sharon as well. Thank you very much for coming as well as Dr. Suzette Searle is coming from the President of the Wattle Day Association. Thank you for your time today. You're looking very wattly. And Melanie mentioned that Steph Cook wasn't able to come today. She really wanted to come. These are the sort of things she absolutely loves. Anything to do with tourism in our community. She really supports them, but she's a very busy lady if anyone knows her, and she just wasn't able to come today, so pass on apology. I suppose being short, the trust has really enabled this to go ahead through that Landcare program, and that funding has allowed Melanie and Claire to actually put it all together. And I suppose I'm talking in part of in behalf of the community. Thank you very much, Melanie, thank you, Claire, and thank you, Nicola, and everybody associated with this. It's a really wonderful thing. Our community is starting more and more to be reliant upon tourism. That's just the way as people's spending habits change, and more people aren't spending in the shops in the main streets. And this is things like this, initiatives like this, as the bird trails and all that, bring people into our community and bring people in to spend money. And it's just wonderful. Not only does it highlight the wattles and their importance, as we said, as Melanie said, the importance it is for biosecurity within our region, and along the roadside verges and what it does for agriculture. But I said, trails like this really do add to our tourism, what we can offer in our community. So thank you very much for all that hard work, and I said it's really appreciated by the community. Thank you. Thanks again. The booklet obviously we'll do is highlights, as I said, the importance of roadside verges, and on a council perspective, that's something we have to be very aware of when they're doing road maintenance and doing grading works and things on the side of the road, and it's really important. This is a tool now that they can use and the staff can use to sort of see what they're actually dealing with on those sides of the roads and help to maintain that for the future. Once again, thank you very much. Anyone's going on the bus trip today, please, I hope you really enjoy it. Haven't been part of the Weddin Shire, it's looking fabulous at the moment. Everything's green, the canola's starting to flower, the wattle's actually flowering, and I think you're going to have a really stunning drive around. Obviously, I think they've turned on the weather for us today. Is that you're doing, Nicola? Yes. As we said, or it could be Melanie or Claire's, one of them did it, so that's really good, so appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. I'll now call on Glenn Hartley, who is the Regional Manager for the Biodiversity Conservation Trust, to come forward and say a few words.
Thank you, Mel. And look, I'd actually just like to start by thanking Mel for all the effort that she's gone to making today happen, and all the broader Weddin Landcare group. It's a fantastic effort. And on behalf of the Biodiversity Conservation Trust, or the BCT, that's an easier gospel to get around. We're very proud to be able to fund today's event and fund the printing of the books. When Mel came to us a little while ago, it was an easy decision for us to make that call. We see the wonderful work that Weddin Landcare does right across the region here, and yes, that was an easy decision for us. Just quickly, it would be remiss of me not to sort of give a little plug for the BCT, just for those people that don't know who we are and what we do. We are a government agency, and essentially we fund private landholders to undertake conservation works on their properties, and we get people to sign up into conservation agreements. They get registered on title. We often fund them, and that funding is secured in a lot of cases forever, in perpetuity. So there's a couple of landholders here in the room today, so that's really good to see. If you want to find out more about our programs, Sharon or myself will be around today to have a chat to. We're always looking for more people who are conservation minded to take that next step and to secure their conservation efforts that they've been doing for many, many years. Into the future and well into the future, and protecting that work that they've done for future generations. So again, on behalf of the BCT, I really want to congratulate Weddin Landcare on the development of the book. It's going to be a fantastic resource. As Paul mentioned, it will attract people into the community and into the region to drive around and have a look at. So well done on all the hard work that you've all put into it. So thanks very much for that.
Thank you, Glenn. The support from the BCT has been very much appreciated. We'll now hear from our special guest for today, Dr. Suzette Searle, who has dedicated many years advocating for wattles through the Wattle Day Association, and has helped to promote our local events and also provide valuable advice and support in the development of our trails and field guide. Thank you, Suzette.
It's an absolute pleasure to be with you today, and thank you for inviting me to launch Australia's first self-drive wattle trails. And look, it comes with a booklet. Look, we couldn't be in a better location next to the wonderful Wattles exhibition launched just 3 weeks ago at the Grenfell Art Gallery across the way. This is another great initiative by Weddin Landcare. I only hope that this art exhibition will be one of Grenfell's annual events. Did you know that the Wattle Day Association, I know, so much work. Yes, I'm an optimist. Did you know that the Wattle Day Association has been promoting Weddin Landcare activities since 2010? That year, as you've heard from Melanie, was a significant year for Weddin Landcare, and it was also when Nicola reached out to us about their inaugural Wattle Day event. 2010 was a big year for us too. We celebrated the centenary of the first Wattle Day. That was held in 1910 on the 1st of September in New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria. We formed the Wattle Day Association in Canberra in 1998 to promote National Wattle Day, as nothing much had happened in the previous years following its official proclamation. That was on 25th of August 1992, and the Governor-General, Bill Hayden, declared that the 1st of September in each year shall be observed as National Wattle Day throughout Australia and in the external territories of Australia. The association has been going for 27 years now. We are a small, volunteer-led, not-for-profit group with dedicated members living around Australia who actively promote the day. In fact, 6 of our members are here today, and they've driven this morning from Yackandandah in Victoria and from Canberra. This is just such a wonderful occasion for us. In Canberra, we hold annual wattle information stalls at the National Arboretum, Canberra, and also at local markets. We also donate golden wattle seedlings, Acacia pycnantha, to organisations such as the National Arboretum, Canberra, the Australian National Botanic Gardens, and the National Capital Authority. You'll be pleased to know that we grow golden wattle from seed that we've collected locally. We also encourage local councils to light up their landmarks and buildings in green and yellow for the 1st of September. Last year, Parliament House lit up in gold too. That was the first time. Pretty exciting. Now, life is full of happy coincidences. Last year, the Wattle Day Association presented the 2024 Golden Wattle Award to Mickla Lewis OAM. This was in recognition of her outstanding and inspirational work over more than 40 years for environmental conservation. Her work includes informative events here in the Weddin Shire to raise awareness of the benefits of planting wattles for the soils, wildlife and agricultural production that was so well described from Melanie today. Can you believe that the first time I actually met Mickla in person, though, was just last year? It was just before I presented her with the 2024 Golden Wattle Award. Now, we present this award to recognise the work or actions of fellow Australians that express the best of the Australian character and values. The ceremony took place on the 31st of August last year at the National Arboretum, Canberra. Later that weekend, Mickla told me about plans for a wattle trail. I was delighted, I was excited. In 1999, my husband John and I travelled to Europe to see the wattle industry in the southeast of France. I was a scientist with CSIRO Forestry specialising in the uses and genetic variation of Australia's larger temperate acacias, the ones that were more than 10 metres in height. I knew that Australian wattles that introduced around the Mediterranean were harvested for cut flowers. I mean, here people think they're going to get allergies for it. Over there, they make a lot of money from it. And at least one wattle was used as an ingredient in high-quality perfumes. I wanted to see the wattles for myself, how they grew and how they harvested them, and to ask if they had any interest in collaborative research. This would focus on sampling Australian acacias for their floral oils for perfumery and selecting the best for breeding work. We did find small wattle plantations where they appeared to harvest half of each tree at a time, and we did find expensive perfumes with acacia ingredients at the great perfume houses in Grasse, which is the perfume capital of the world. Acacia, or should I say mimosa, could be found listed amongst the ingredients. That's because in Europe, our wattles are called mimosa. That's the common name actually given to a lot of fluffy flowered blossoms that include Australian acacias, not just exclusively ours. But mostly we found landscapes just covered in silver wattle, Acacia dealbata, growing wild, running amok, we would say. But my hopes of finding interest in investigating the floral oils of a silver wattle and other Australian acacias went nowhere, as the mimosa industry in France was in decline due to rising labour costs. But what we didn't know at that time was that the landholders and tourism officers in the region had a plan. They had a plan for their wattle. It is called the Route de Mimosa, Now, if anyone's can speak French, please correct my pronunciation, but Route du Mimosa, the Mimosa Trail. Now, this is a scenic 130-kilometre drive in the winter, and people take this in the winter months from January to March. It was launched in January 2001. Since then, the last 24 years, annual festivals, street parades, fairs and all manner of tourist offices and businesses lend themselves to a wattle theme that has a focus on the beauty and the scent of the wattles. You can find wattle-themed gifts and things to eat in bakeries, gift shops, jewellery shops, clothing shops and nurseries. And there they're selling wattles that they have hybridised or grafted. There's quite an industry there. Now, it's been on our bucket list for years now to drive along the Route du Mimosa, and we are going next February. Now, I know you can see where I'm going with this. And yes, of course, you're all welcome to join us. Okay. But what I'm thinking is that Grenfell could be a similar destination for wattle lovers from around the world. And of course, while they are here, they can enjoy everything else at Grenfell: colonial and gold history, Henry Lawson's birthplace, bird and canola trails, and silo paintings, just to name a few. The Wattle Day Association promotes National Wattle Day and its activities across Australia, and it's clear that more and more organisations recognise this day as an appropriate occasion to raise awareness of their own attractions and events and natural features, as well as joining in a national celebration. For example, there has been a steady increase in the number of wattle walks, talks and wattle identification workshops being offered by Landcare groups, botanic gardens, arboretums, national parks and plant conservation groups. Since our first lighting up in green and yellow of landmarks in Canberra, such as Old Parliament House, the Carillion, the fountain, the Captain Cook Memorial Jet Fountain, and we did this to lift people's spirits during COVID because we couldn't get together on the 1st of September to celebrate. Other councils have been lighting up around Australia, in Western Australia, Tasmania and Queensland, just to name a few states. Many councils and Landcare groups have been growing, selling or giving away wattles in recent years, such as the ACT's government's Urban Treescapes group. They organise a Wattle Day giveaway for all the primary schools in the ACT. Last year they gave away more than 800 wattles to 38 primary schools in the lead up to National Wattle Day. There is no doubt in my mind that the efforts and achievements of Weddin Landcare are a standout. The staff and volunteers do so much with the community to support landholders in their soil and wildlife conservation and sustainable agricultural production. All the wattle information and publications on the Weddin Landcare website, the social media and your other publications, for example, are absolute gold mines of accurate and helpful information. The Weddin Community Native Nursery and Grenfell's Endemic Garden are other important resources that you've established. Have you noticed actually that there's been an increase in the popularity of Australia's flowers, including wattles, in our everyday lives? 10 years ago, it wasn't easy to find items or gifts made from or featuring wattle. Now they are everywhere. Now, whether this decade-long trend will continue will be seen. Certainly, designers at the Royal Australian Mint, the Reserve Bank of Australia and Australia Post have ensured that we will have wattle in our pockets or on our letters for some time to come, whether it be on our banknotes, a celebratory coin or a stamp. What there hasn't been is an increase in awareness of the high quality and commercial value of wattle wood, for everything from hardwood furniture grown on a short rotation, just say 20 years, and benchtop timber, to good quality firewood for barbecues, pizza ovens and gin distilleries. Hopefully, the growing of wattle for their wood uses will increase. Weddin wattle a local guide, introduces you to 33 acacia species growing along the wattle trails around Grenfell, New South Wales. And I commend it to you. It is a wonderful guide, full of information about wattles in general and the Grenfell wattles in particular. In fact, one of my favourite sections, if you had a chance to look at it yet, is, well, what do you know? There's always something interesting at the bottom of each page. This botanical guide to the Weddin wattles is yet another feather, or should I say wattle blossom plume, in the hats of the hard-working staff and volunteers of Weddin Landcare. France may have its route du mimosa, but now Australia has its Weddin self-drive wattle trails. I believe it will be the beginning of Grenfell becoming the wattle hub of the Central West, if it is not already. Happy wattling.